Guys.
BJ, Ron, and Jay.
What's up, Spencer?
What's up, BJ?
Not much, man. Hey, we saw what Nohe Kaneo came in and did, and obviously got the pick. And his brother, Kekal, is going to set the record for games played here at Boise State, 55 on Saturday. And I know
that's awesome.
Pandemic, obviously, last year getting the season back, is part of that. But just for those two guys, and there was a picture of him with his arm around him. I don't know if you saw that, but just for those guys to be out there together on the field, and for Kekal to come back this year and have that year with him, what do you think this means to them? What's that like for you to see this?
Oh, I mean, it's why we do what we do, BJ. You know what I mean? You're 100% right. And I was talking to the defense earlier this morning. Obviously, we still got to clean up and grow in, but remembering that moment from the end of the game to the locker room to seeing, to your point, I remember exactly where Kanoe and Kala were on the field, and they gave each other the hug at the end of the game. It almost brought tears in my eyes, because the work and the grind that it took to get to win that game, and what they did. And now it's obviously our push to do it again and do it better, because there's still a lot to clean up. But with the thing that I'm most proud about with Noe is this. I mean, 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if he knew how much he was going to play. You know what I mean? With Markel and Tyreek and Biggs and these, he just kind of looks at it, but he just kept working. He's a good athlete, does a lot on special teams. And now all of a sudden he gets in a game, plays well, gets an interception, you know what I mean? And especially a young man where, everybody knows his brother. His brother's done a lot of great things here at Boise State, and kind of always a little bit in that limelight, especially when you come to a place where your brother, to your point, BJ's played so many games. For him to be able to have that moment for the work he's put in was really special. And for them to be able to have that together, like you said, was awesome.
You think about who you didn't have in that game. You obviously mentioned you didn't have Markel or Tyreek, and then you lose Damon Cole early in the game. Then you have Skinner have the targeting call, in the second quarter. I mean, I don't know if enough was made, about the losses you had on defense there. And what does it say about some of those other guys like Tubman and some of those guys that had to come in that Noe to step up and obviously, against a pretty good BYU offense?
Yeah, it was just big for us to see that those guys had been preparing themselves even when they weren't playing. We use the term here, like work while you're waiting, and so you can't, when your moment comes, you can't, all right, now I got to get ready. You never know when it's going to come, because if you would have told me 2 weeks ago that those guys would have been playing that game, you just don't know what's going to happen in football. You know what I'm saying? And seeing those guys prep and do a good job looking at the older guys in the room from all positions and seeing how they do it and growing and having their best week of prep, it showed on Saturday. Like I said, still so much to clean up and a lot that we need to, but I just think it's a big step for our guys, even guys that aren't playing right now, to be like, well, man, maybe I should be ready, because at this point, it seems like everybody's at any point someone can go in there, you know what I mean? And seeing those guys step up and get the job done, like I said, wasn't pretty, but get the job done with the guys that we lost either in the game or prior to. I am proud of them.
The fumble recoveries, and knocking the ball out as much as you guys did. I mean, I know, what was that good technique? Did the rain and the wet ball have something to do with it? I mean, how nice was it the interceptions are one thing, but to, get 3 fumble recoveries, I know one was on special teams, but I mean, that had to see.
No, it's huge. I mean, and creating takeaways is such a huge part of what defense needs to do. I mean, it's like we talk about pursuit, tackling, and takeaways is the lifeblood of defense, and getting those, creating them. And a lot of it just is the habits that you create daily and watching them again. You see just guys punching at the ball and second man in the tackle. I mean, Tyreek Jones puts his shoulder right on the ball, and some of those are just playing hard. And it's cool to see that our guys are getting to the football. So then you pursue the football and then you're around the ball to scoop it up. So those habits go hand in hand, and creating those has been huge. And seeing it come up on special teams, because like Coach Avalos hits all the time, special teams is the culmination of the offense and defense together. That's really our personality as a team, is how we play on special teams, and seeing that go our way was awesome to see. But no, I mean, the takeaways were a huge part.
Thanks, Spencer.
Thanks, BJ.
Spencer, we saw Alexander Tubman come in the game on Saturday when JL went out. I believe he got in on 2 of the forced fumbles. I know he's a guy who's been around here for a while, but we don't really know much about him. What can you tell us about Alexander Tubman?
Alexander Tubman, better known as Tubes to the rest of the team. If you guys ask about Tubes, that's kind of his nickname on the team. Just an extremely hard worker. Gets great grades in the classroom because he competes in everything he does. he will always be that kid that is early and last to leave, diligent in regards to his preparation, works his tail off in the weight room to the training room, and he's just continually just done things to put himself in a situation where he's backing up JL Skinner, and then in a game like that where JL gets out for targeting, he's ready to roll, and we don't bat an eye. Alex Tubner's going in, and he did a really good job. So he is that guy, Ron, that just is exactly what you would want from just a blue collar young man. Works his tail off, preps. Never any issues off the field, just handles his business, comes to work with a smile on his face. If it's from kickoff to playing defense, he'll be ready to go.
And we didn't see Shane Irwin on the field quite as much last week. I'm curious, was there an injury there that slowed him down, or was it just kind of a rotational issue?
Yeah, just still kind of getting healed up. It's one of those things that after missing the game and still kind of getting in the shape of the game, but just healing up. No, and he's doing a lot better. But just being smart with him to make sure that we have him on a rep count and make sure we don't overplay him until he gets back to where he's 100%.
Sure. And going into this week, what's the key to defending a triple option?
Discipline across all levels, from the D-line to the linebackers to the back end. It's all about discipline. It'll be tested every single snap. And obviously, I think the world of the Air Force Academy and not only what they do for our country, but how they play football. And I mean, they're a disciplined, tough group with intangibles through the roof. And it will be tested every snap. And our guys are excited for the challenge, and we need that challenge, and we're excited for it. But discipline in regards to where my eyes are at, what is my key telling me, and trusting that and not trying to do someone else's job.
How much extra tape are you guys going to use on knees and ankles this week?
No doubt. We'll see, man. I'm with you. I know where you played the cut blocks all week. I'll tell you that, Ron.
For sure. Thanks, man. Good luck.
Appreciate you, brother.
What's up, doing?
What's up, Jay?
One of the biggest moments in that game, I felt like, coming out of halftime, Boise State was able to run the ball effectively, and they possessed the ball for almost half of that third quarter. As a defensive coordinator, how nice was it to maybe just sit back and watch your team kind of control the clock and view Jaron Hall on the sideline versus on the field?
Oh, it was huge. And our offense did a phenomenal job throughout, but I mean, especially opening that third quarter, being able just to grind the clock away, especially against a really good defense. It was just a really good team win, and think the world of BYU and what they do, but it was just really awesome to see them do that. And it was cool to see our guys on the sideline on defense sitting there, like just cheering them on, like, man, keep it going. One first down after another. And to your point, I'm sitting up in the box, cheering them on as well. And I'm the biggest fan of everything going on. So it was just cool to see the team rally around it, because that's what it is. We've talked a lot about the middle eight, where it's really the last 4 minutes of the second quarter and the first 4 minutes of the third quarter, and how critical that is in regards to a game, wins and losses, and just being better in those 8 minutes. And we were, and it obviously showed, and hats off to the offense doing a great job in that opening drive. And it really set the tone.
Spencer, when a team goes on the road and knocks off the 10th ranked team in the country, I think there's this perception that your stars shine the brightest in order to score an upset like that. But you've already mentioned it a couple of times, the team aspect of this thing. It was guys like Alex Tubner and Noe Kaniho. Jackson Craven's a big fourth down stop at midfield near the end of the first half.
Yep.
How cool is it when everybody kind of gets a chance to feel like they've made an impact?
Oh, it's huge. It's absolutely huge, Jay. And I think it really brings your team even closer together, to where it's not just, you don't win that game just because, these one or two guys that are our best players, quote unquote, played well. It's the whole team. It goes from all the way from a kickoff rep to defense, offense, and it's everybody working together and understanding what are we going to do to win this game, and not just score a lot of points on offense and hold them to none on defense. And you know what I mean? It's working together. And Coach Alice has done a good job of just making sure everybody knows what we need to do on either side of the ball to win the game. Because that's at the end of the day what it's all about. And seeing these guys that maybe aren't as well known to the public because of either their playing time or their reps, seeing them show up in a big way and show that they've prepped themselves to be ready for those moments, is huge. It's very fulfilling as a coach. And because you see that glimmer in their eyes where they're like, man, I've worked so hard and now I'm starting to reap some of the benefits of that hard work, because I just think that's such a direct correlation to life, where if you work hard at something, you do it consistently over and over, and you don't look for excuses or a way out, things will naturally start to work for you. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but things will start to fall in line. I think our guys are able to see that. And we got a resilient group, and that's probably the biggest thing I'm proud of our guys is wasn't perfect, a lot to clean up, but our guys stay in the fight, and they're never out. And that's what I love. They're going to keep swinging to the end.
Last weekend against BYU, Sataki, he was very aggressive going for it on fourth down, almost regardless of field position. What kind of goes through your mind when you see that they're going to go for it? And I mean, it's almost like an instant moment where you got a shot to basically create a turnover. I mean,
yeah,
you guys got the ball in their field twice after they failed to convert on fourth down.
No, 100%. And we see it just like you said, we see it the same as a takeaway, because a fourth down stop, I mean, you're getting the ball back to your offense, and especially in the field positions where they did go for it. And I really believe our guys took it personal. Like, okay, you're going to, and they've done that really throughout the year. He's a pretty, he'll go for it in different situations, but took it personal. Like, okay, it's fourth and 2 on the 45-yard line. You're going to go for it. Well, let's lock in here and make sure that, we need to take care of that. We need to do that for the team. And it's not just about defensively and, we want to do that to win that column, but it's how big will this be if we get the ball back for our offense at midfield? And I believe after that, they went down and scored, and it was just a huge swing, And so it's just the same as a takeaway. And winning those critical downs, those money downs for us is huge. And in a game like that, it's going to come down to how many different possessions you can steal. And our guys being able to do a good job on those fourth downs, winning 2 of 3 was big.
And one more for me. Andy mentioned that your guys up front, they played with their hips more squared to the line of scrimmage. How much do you think your team truly grew in terms of technique, confidence, and showing that they can hang with, what coming in was one of the more physical, successful offensive lines in the country?
Well, they grew a ton, and it's been awesome to see our guys take lumps, and it's not just the D-line, like I said, it's from linebackers to seconds. Everybody's involved with stopping the run, right? Coaches, and seeing them learn, grow, take coaching, be on the practice field all the way from Monday to Friday to learn and grow and see it start to come to fruition. In regards to your point, Jay, you watch them on film and they're running the ball all over everybody. And seeing our guys come out, and like I said, wasn't perfect. There's still some plays that we got a lot to grow in, but I think they're starting to see now that what that hard work can correlate to. And I think it also, the mindset of our team, and especially our defense, where it doesn't matter who's in there. It could be Scott Matlock, could be Jackson Cravens, could be Herbert Gums, could be Ahmed Hassan, could be Alex Tubner. Like we're gonna train our guys the right way. We're gonna play hard. We're gonna play discipline, and that's where success comes from. When you start doing your own thing and guys are playing outside of that, that's where we've had our issues this season. So I think our guys are starting to understand how much that prep and that work really correlates to it on Saturdays. If I'm a starter or I'm not, your number could be called.
Spencer, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Go Bob, Mike, and Will.
Spencer, you've coached against Air Force now 3 or 4 times since you've been here. How much adjustments go on in a game with Air Force? And, I would imagine while your scout team is trying to do the best they can, Air Force is going to run their triple option at a much faster rate than your scout team will. So just talk about the in-game adjustments and how you think a game flows when you're facing Air Force.
Yeah, it is an absolute war from kickoff to the end. And you're excited for that challenge, especially as a defensive coach and a defensive player. You're excited for the challenge because it's an offense that we talk about, practice, analyze throughout the entire year. It's not something that we obviously show up in season and get ready for. It's something we train from the wintertime, the spring, the summer. And so when the week actually gets here, you're really excited for the challenge. And they're the number 1 rushing attack in the entire country. And our guys know that, and they're excited for that challenge. And you're exactly right. Our scout team's done a really good job. We're going to coach them up to get it as close to the game as we can, Bob. But it's almost impossible to simulate what it looks like on game day because of how the fast physicality with which they play and the discipline with which they play. So, but getting our guys as close as we can to that is going to be huge, and getting them those reps to where they do it over and over in practice. So when they get in the game, yeah, it might be a little bit faster, but they know where their eyes should be and where that tells them, and be able to execute from there. But there's always adjustments against an Air Force team because they do the same. They see what you're in, and it's all about numbers and angles, and kind of playing that game with them throughout is going to be huge. But it's also making sure our guys are confident and having a simple plan that they can execute and go out and use great fundamentals and technique and play hard.
How much does a player who's played against them before, and I'm thinking of guys like Kaniho, Wimpy, Noah, have been in there multiple years against him, versus somebody like Noe Kaniho, or if Biggers hasn't faced him before? How much of an advantage is it for a player to have faced that before? Oh,
it's huge. I mean, the experience, the game experience in general is huge, regardless what offense you're playing, because it's just the stress, the emotion, the speed, but especially playing a triple option team, the experience of playing it in years prior is monstrous. And getting our guys up to that speed that haven't is also obviously us coaches in the practice reps and in the meetings to get them as close as we can to where that learning curve is shorter than it would be in another situation. So the experience is huge, and the guys that haven't faced Air Force in a game situation, we're going to have to get them up to speed and do it quick. And last one from me. When the first game you coached against Air Force to now, what's maybe the biggest thing that that you didn't know when you faced them the first time? It's a great question. I would say just the speed of the triple option is always, every year you play them, the first couple reps and plays is always, even as a coach, it's just way faster than you even remember. How they're firing off the ball, how quickly they're operating, and how efficiently they're operating. I don't know if that's something that's changed from 4 or 5 years ago to now, but it's always something. Those first couple plays, even for our guys, is those first couple plays are always just way faster than you remember. But then I think you can get in a rhythm with it, and you understand kind of how you're being attacked and can start to adjust and adapt from there. But they do a great job. They have their wrinkles year in and year out, and hats off to their staff, because they're always evolving and finding new ways to attack defenses, and it's going to be a great challenge. Thanks, Spencer. Good luck. Thanks, Bob.
Spencer, Air Force and what they do is already very, very pesky. Now when they throw in Hazik Daniels throwing the football like they did in the second half the other day, one, how much has that changed the dynamic of where you're coming from, and how much have you seen that in other games this season?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I think, that quarterback does a great job. And when you have a triple option attack that also has a quarterback that can make the throws, it makes it tough. Especially when you're fighting your tail off to stop the run, and then they pull it out and they can launch. It makes it tough. And so but at the end of the day, it always comes down to the discipline with which we play with Mike. If my eyes are on my man and I'm doing what I should, and I'm playing with discipline, then you should be fine. But it's consistently testing that from quarter one to the end of the game. And with a quarterback that can make the throws, and then if they're not there, he can take off and go the distance. It does create some issues for defenses.
That's all I need. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, Spence, what did you think of Caleb Biggers' performance Saturday, and what's he give you guys at that cornerback position?
Yeah, Caleb is not only a great young man to be around, a leader, even as a new player to our program. He does a great job leading and making sure that even the younger DBs know what it takes to work, has a great attitude, and seeing him being able to step into that role now and be the guy has been awesome to see, and from the recruiting process to getting him here to seeing him start to play at a high level is just awesome to see his hard work pay off, and we need him, and so glad he's on our team. We need him to keep growing and understanding even more of this defense as he continues to get the experience in our schemes. But he's done a great job, and he's a great kid to be around, and a kid that continues to lead, and I honestly believe his best football is in front of him.
There we go. Sorry about that. A little technology problem. How nice was it to get Herbert back for you guys, and what's he give your defensive line?
Yeah, it was great to get Herb back. He's a very explosive, strong D tackle, and he was going to get worked in the rotation last year prior to him tearing his ACL, which which he has worked his tail off to recover from. And the trainers have done a great job getting him back, and now we're getting him in shape. And that's why, the experience factor is huge. Really, he got, I think, 1 or 2 snaps against BYU last year. And those are the last snaps he got prior to tearing his ACL. And then the next game he's back a full year is against BYU again, to go in there and get those game reps and play hard and not play perfect, but get a lot of experience and be able to pull on those experience going forward is going to be huge, especially for our depth up front where we need it. And it's going to be really excited to see him continue to grow. And Coach Miley's done a great job with him.
Thanks, Spence.
Thanks, Will.
Go John Mallory to finish it up.
Coach, not having your 2 starting corners and to be able to play the way you guys did. I mean, I got to look at Kane Ione and Jerron Johnson a little bit here and the job they've done. I mean, it was a revolving door of secondary players last week, and you really couldn't know the difference. What is it specifically about those 2 assistant coaches that you have that are doing such a good job with this secondary?
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. They've done a great job all season, and especially just making sure as they teach, making it clear and concise for the guys so that it could be from the starters to the backups to could be the number 3s. They're learning it and understanding it the same way so that when they get in the game, they can execute and play fast. And it's just been cool to see kind of that next man up mentality, not only with the secondary, but with our entire defense, where we've had some guys be out, we've had some guys get injured, and we just keep it moving, and we're not making excuses, and they know that. And at the end of the day, we know the standards here and how we need to play. When we don't meet them, it's on us, and we need to get it fixed. And it's been cool to see those guys continually walk this path with us, especially in the back end with how many we lost last week. Seeing those guys step up and not miss a beat is huge, and we need to keep them taking steps going forward.
This was the first top 10 victory here that you've personally been involved with, Coach.
Yep.
Do you buy into the season saving stuff, or the one game can change the trajectory of a whole season? They throw out the program changing win. How do you quantify this? Can you guys use this as fuel?
Yeah, I think you definitely can. I know for me, and I shouldn't say for me, for our team, it was just after the loss to Nevada, heartbreaking, still hurts your soul. Being able to go back to not the drawing board, but go back and just focus on and simplifying the things that we need to grow in, getting back to our discipline, how we prep and work from Monday to Friday, and doing all that and seeing it pay off on Saturday, John, was the biggest thing. And if it was the top 10 team in the nation, or if it was an unranked team we played, the end result for us was just let's see if we simplify and work from Monday to Friday all the way to game time, how good can we be? And I think our guys start to see that they can be pretty good when they really handle their business, when they're disciplined and they prep the right way. We can be pretty good. And what that means, if that means it was a program changing win and all that, I have no idea about that, but I do know it was very, very excited for our players and the hard work they put in to get that win, and even more excited for them to use that as fuel and use that as an understanding of what it takes to win those football games, because it's hard to win. And when you do, remember how you did it so you can keep it going.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, John.
All right, Spencer, appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Have a good day, guys. Appreciate you. See ya.
Thanks, Spencer.